Politicians shouldn't get paid when ain't nobody else getting paid. Air traffic controllers aren't getting paid. TSA agents aren't getting paid. Why are y'all getting paid? And, why do you get to decide to pay yourselves and you're not paying anybody else? That's just kind of it's like welcome to America, right? It's just kind of one of those things that reminds us to to just be thoughtful about, sort of what economic independence and financial security ends up looking like. And anyway, all right. So what I'm gonna do here is um, give me one second here. This is so interesting. Uh, Okay. Wow, this is wild. Yeah, I was looking at something on my YouTube channel and there's this video up there that I don't think I put this video up there. And I keep getting these copyright strikes on my channel, which is really disturbing to me because I'm not doing anything to make this happen. It's funny, I mentioned to you all that Mr. Netanyahu made a deal with YouTube, and ever since that happened, like everybody's getting these like little notifications that that you violated some rule of, like you're being racist and anti-Semitic or something, and it might just literally be something that you just mentioned in passing that had nothing to do with anybody, but this is the world we live in. All right, so let's talk about Nvidia. Let's jump in and discuss this, and also make sure you're on the text list. I'm gonna send you guys a text right now to let the students that are not here know that class is starting. All right, so I don't know how many of you own Nvidia. First off, let me ask you all this: how many of you own Nvidia right now? Um, and so I'm curious to know that just because I'm hopeful that you chose to get at least a little bit, maybe through an ETF or something like that. Because Nvidia right now is just kind of the superstar of the economy. They just hit a $5 trillion market cap. They Jensen Huang goes and gives these speeches. He's like a rock star. Everybody loves him apparently right now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but there are a lot of ways to invest in Nvidia. That ticker AIQ, which I've mentioned in many cases in terms of a great ETF inside of AI, is a way to get exposure. But then also you can just buy directly. You can buy leveraged ETFs in Nvidia. I have all those things. I bought this morning. I bought some put options because I am worried about the stock correcting. But really, it's such a phenomenal generational blast off that it substantially increased our family wealth owning Nvidia. Right? I told you how I owned it. And it's funny, like somebody asked me, and also I don't know if some of you own Bloom Energy also. If you're in prime class, you own Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy took off, I think, 18% yesterday. And I put it on my Instagram. My Instagram's Dr. Boyce Finance, and somebody said, "How do you keep nailing it on the head and picking these stocks in such a great way?" And I said, it's 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 not, I mean, it's nothing more than just simple basic analysis, right? I mean, I have a PhD in this stuff for sure, so I have insights that take time to develop. But I go back to the basic thing that I mentioned to you all before. Nobody can predict the direction of a stock, even me. You can't do it, right? And so what's happened this year is that think about it. If it's raining money out of the sky, then you don't have to be smart to get rich, right? You don't have to, all you gotta do is go out here and do like this, and money will land on top of you because it's everywhere. So this market has been really a glaring reflection of the dichotomy of our society. Because on one hand, Friday SNAP benefits are getting cut off, a lot of people losing their jobs, government shutdowns hurting a lot of people. But this stock market, it just keeps on giving. It overfloweth, right? It just won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. And part of my bias in terms of why this is, okay with me, not to say the inequality is okay. It's never okay, but I'm okay with it because I'm like, well, I got a lot of students that are in the stock market. I want my people to win, right? Be first, black first means the B1 community is the community that matters to me. And the fact that a lot of you are making money from this just thrills the hell out of me. It makes me very excited. But that's also against the backdrop of a little bit of survivor's guilt, because I know a lot of you have relatives and loved ones who did not participate, maybe out of fear, or they didn't get around to it, or they just don't believe in it, or maybe they don't like me because I'm not a hardcore Democrat, like say a Roland Martin. Roland and I, we know we have a long. Roland and I know each other well enough to the point where we can't stand each other, but we have a respect for each other. You know what I mean? Like Roland and I go back 20 years, and we're very different. I say, come on, man, stop. You're like a cheerleader for the Democratic Party. Just be a black man. You ain't got to be a Democrat all the time, right? You can be a Democrat still, but so even when I was a Democrat, I was a black Democrat. I wasn't a Democrat who happened to be black, if you know what I mean, right? To the point where I would literally loan and give my blackness to a political party, or same thing. If you're a black Republican, that's different from being a Republican who happens to be black. I think you should be. I think if you want to be a black Republican, be a black Republican, but don't be a Republican who happens to be black. It has to be black first. And the thing about it is that if you show up, if you're in it, and but you don't have to be of it, right? You can be in it and say, yeah, I happen to lean conservative, so I'm a Republican, but I'm not loaning you all my blackness in order for you to pursue a political agenda, right? Like you can take the whole civil rights movement, you can take all of our struggle, you can compare everything to slavery and whatever, because you know what they do. You know what I'm talking about. You ever see that where they'll be like, oh, that's just like slavery, or you'll have a black person. My ancestors went through this, 200 years ago, and now corporations are going through it today. Like, stop that. Stop diluting our unique struggle and everything we went through just so you can be a good Negro for your boss. Because I'm gonna tell you, the black people I love the most are the ones who want to not have a boss at all. No, ain't nobody supposed to be your oppressor. You ain't supposed to have an overseer. Seriously, sometimes we look around like, okay, who's gonna be my master? Who's my new daddy? Nobody's supposed to be your daddy. You're supposed to lead yourself. And it's okay to believe that. So I have to make that clear. I think sometimes that's what happens. I think sometimes people are like, well, I won't listen to him because he's not a Democrat like me, but I'm not a Republican either, and I don't apologize for that. It's like, how dare you tell me what the hell to do? You ain't gonna tell me what to do. I'm a free black man. That's probably strange for you. You may not understand that, but that's what I am, and that's what I'm always going to be. And I hate the fact that I have to fight with you. I don't want to fight with you. I want to fight for our families. My goal is simple. My dream is very simple. I want black families to be stable and get rid of these damn generational curses that traumatize the hell out of us. I want black children to be safe. I don't want them shot in the street and going to prison and unemployed and financially stressed out and unhappy. I want us to be healthy. I don't want us having all these mental health problems that are easily fixed or physical health problems that come from the fact that we get addicted to Popeye's chicken, right? I want us to be rich. I want us to have money everywhere. I want us to be literally living in the belly of pure unadulterated, just delicious economic power all the time, every day. I want us to just walk in that power and just be like, hey, this is my birthright. This is who I am. That's what I want. I want us like just so economically powerful that it's ridiculous and so economically intelligent that we can't be stopped. And understanding that we can control our destiny. That's what I really want. That's it. That's my agenda. That's my whole agenda. And so I can't be a Democrat or a Republican or any of this nonsense because none of that fits into any of those agendas. There's no part of the Republican Party platform or Democratic Party platform that says, hey, we want to make sure black people are just running everything. We want to make sure black families are stable and that black people are just doing really well and everybody's no, no, no. Most people, and I'm gonna get back to Nvidia in a minute. I didn't, I plan, I really want to talk about Nvidia. I actually got notes here, so just bear with me for a minute because I got to get this out. But I think that overall, um, real power is something you're gonna have to earn and fight for yourself. And most people seem to profit financially from the legacy of black suffering. They benefit from being able to put you in some sort of disadvantaged group or some sort of hated, disliked group or some sort of group that really has no home, has no country, has no anchor. So therefore, you are forced to bend the knee to the agenda of whoever happens to be in charge, right? So, for example, People say Donald Trump doesn't like black people. That's not true. He's probably got more black friends than I got. The difference is Donald Trump likes black people if you align with Donald Trump. If you are, a card carrying conservative and you speak all the Republican talking points, he'll make you his best buddy. You black woman, you pretty. He'll probably try to hang out with you. Probably want to come sleep with you, right? So no, he doesn't dislike every black. He just doesn't like black people who are liberal. And then same thing. If you go to the Democrat side, I remember when Kamala Harris was running and Barack Obama gave a lot of speeches about how it's important that we support a black woman. That's fine. But then there was a black Republican that's running, and a lot of people are saying, hey, wait a minute, she's black, and why are you endorsing the white lady? You're endorsing the white lady. And Barack came in, and was like, yeah, but she's a Democrat, right? And that is the point that I'm making to you is I don't really know how we benefit, definitely not economically or otherwise by being D1 or R1, Republican one or Democratic first. I think we benefit from being B1, black first. Like I'm black first, and then I can be a Democrat, Republican. I can be all these other things afterward. And Dr. Claude Anderson in Powernomics talks about this a lot. He says that a lot of the potential of black families and black communities gets diluted because we get distracted by other people's agendas. If you're curious about what that looks like, let me draw it for you really simple so you can see it very clearly. Every day you get up, millions of us can't do what's best for ourselves or our families because we got to go to work and do what's best for somebody's corporation. I want you to imagine how different your family would look if you got up every morning and spent the whole day with your kids and the whole day with your spouse and the whole day with yourself. If you taught your kids, if you went to the gym, if you took a spa day if you felt like it, if you took a date night with your spouse, like really, I want you to really think about, I want you to process that. I mean, let's get granular with it. I want you to really think about like what do I do in a 24-hour day? How much time am I spending working on me and mine versus how much time am I spending working on somebody else's agenda? Because don't you dare tell me that when you go to UPS every morning that UPS's agenda is your agenda. No, I know UPS's agenda. Their agenda is to serve the shareholders. And I was a shareholder in UPS. I don't own the shares anymore. But yeah, you were serving people like me, or and other people, millions of other people who own stock in the company. You weren't serving you. And that which you do not invest in will not grow. The things you neglect eventually die. The things you pay attention to, you're pouring life into that. Those things flourish, those things prosper. A flower that gets plenty of water and plenty of food is going to be strong and healthy. A flower that's in the desert and doesn't get fed is going to die. So, your community, in some cases, not in all cases, but in a lot of our cases, our communities, our families, our physical health, our mental health, those are the flowers that die because we are so busy doing something else. And what is that other thing? What is that other thing that we're doing? It's usually going to work. I mean, really, from the time you're born to the time you die, you're born to work. You're trained to be just part of the American industrial engine, and then you're trained to consume. So you get all the money, or any money you make from your job, you either spend it on your bills or you spend it at the mall, and then that way you have to keep coming back to work. Those financial prisons are pretty common. They're well designed and they're very effective. Most people can't do what they want to do with their life because they're stuck in that prison. Debt is a prison. I was trying to think about something. There was an example I saw where somebody did that very deliberately, where they were strategically putting people in debt so that they would then have to give labor. Can't remember the example. Gosh, I wish I could find it. But I saw the movie, the Willy Wonka movie, and that Willy Wonka movie gives you an example of that. Willy Wonka had a dream. He wanted to build this chocolate factory. He was a young, ambitious chocolatier, and gets to London, and he goes to a hotel. First thing they do is they get him deep in debt so they can force him to go work in the laundry room to pay off the debt. But the debt was false in the first place. The debt wasn't legitimate. And but that's how they pull people into slavery. And so then your dreams die because you can't invest in your dream. but the factory that you're forced to work for ends up flourishing because they're getting your labor. You're taking your energy and you're diverting it in that direction. So really being thoughtful about where we apply our energy is really important. And I think that's just universally important. I think that might shape a lot of my policy around these politicians and all that. It's like I'm not even giving you my energy. Why would I give you my energy? My energy needs to be efficiently allocated to the things that matter. I got up this morning at 5 a.m. My energy was put into running. I ran 4 miles. Um, During those 4 miles, I listened to podcasts about finances and I was doing analysis on what's going on with the markets. I was communicating with my team, pouring my energy into my business. I talked to my son for an hour this morning. I was giving him advice, pouring into him, pouring love into him. I'm giving energy talking to you. I'm pouring into you as much as I can, and I hope that this adds value. After this, I'm going to keep doing that all day. At no point in my day is there any plan for me to pour energy into anything other than things that actually matter. So the conscious application of your resources is a very important part of investing. If you don't think I've been investing all morning, then you haven't been in this class very long. The biggest investments I've made so far have had nothing to do with money. Sure, yeah, I looked at my stock portfolio and the Nvidia stock shot up. That's hooray, that's wonderful. We got more money. But most of my investing has nothing to do with money. I'm going to invest in my wife. I'm going to go in there and give her kisses and we're going to go and eat lunch together and all that, right? So time and energy. Think about those things very carefully. That's really important. Let me move back. Let's jump into Nvidia. Let's talk about Nvidia here. Quick reminders. Number one, tonight we're doing Powernomics training. I'm reading Dr. Claude Anderson books, and we do this once a week, every Wednesday. We're reading Dirty Little Secrets. His website's powernomics.com. So I always talk about this man, and I love him a lot. I guess if I was Malcolm X or I don't know Brother Nuri Muhammad or Farrakhan or something, he would be my Elijah Muhammad. I don't know. I have that kind of loyalty to the man. I just do it. That ain't gonna change. And I'm loyal to Farrakhan too. I love Farrakhan. That ain't gonna change either. But anyway, his website is powernomics.com, and his book is called Dirty Little Secrets. And he has cool stuff in the book. Like he talks about Harriet Tubman being stiffed by the U.S. government. Most people don't know about that. It says here Harriet Tubman, an escaped slave, abolitionist, friend of John Brown, fighter for women's rights, nurse, scout, Civil War spy, and fighter for black freedom until her death in 1913, was truly a towering figure in American history. During the Civil War, Tubman performed spy services for the Union Army, but she was never fairly compensated either as a black person or as a spy. She never received the promised 40 acres and a mule, and in 1898 she petitioned the U.S. government for back pay for her spy services in the Civil War. She was poverty stricken in her old age and had no tangible means of support. Based upon military disability regulations, she was eligible for military aid. She submitted documentation of her wartime service to the Secretary of War and various Army officers, but no action was taken for 30 years. Finally, in 1897, a Senate committee recommended that Harriet Tubman be given $25 a month for the rest of her life. Before the bill for her compensation was approved in 1898, a Southern congressman reduced the amount by $5. So they eventually, 30 years later, gave her $25 a month, and then somebody reduced the amount by 20%, $5. And so, isn't that interesting though? Didn't it? I feel like that speaks to what I was just saying about where you invest your energy. So Harriet Tubman, one of the greatest human beings ever to live, um, did amazing work for her people. She was getting black folks across that Mason-Dixon line and putting her life on the line, and she was willing to pull out the gun on the backward, scary Negroes who weren't ready to move. God bless her for that. That's amazing. But then she also put energy into serving as a spy for the federal government. So you know, somebody got her to go and make this sacrifice for this government. And when it came time for her to be compensated, they disrespected her completely. And I'm not saying she shouldn't have done it, but I'm sure if she could do it over again, she wouldn't. I mean, maybe there's something else she could have been doing other than that, right? And I think it's disgraceful. I think it's unfair. I think it's highly inappropriate, but it happens all the time. Happens all the time. I mean, I want you to think about how many times you have a person that sacrifices everything for whether it's a political party or a government or whatever, or a corporation, and the organization doesn't properly compensate that person. And this is why I think what we're doing in terms of wealth building and developing, independent strategies of pure actual power matters quite a lot, right? I don't believe these institutions ever have done right by us. So we have to build the institutions that will do right by us. And I can tell you, if you want an institution to do right by you, then build the dang institution. Start with your family. Your family is an institution, whether you know it or not. But it won't be an institution if you choose not to make it that. If you don't invest in it, then it will not become anything other than what it is right now. But if you invest in it, and I know people that are in this room right now who invest in their family, like I see Jen in there, and Kendall and Karen Green and others, and if you invest in your family will become a formidable force in this world to the point where it won't matter what's happening in the broader economy. Your family's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But when you get to the point where you marry in the corporation's not a very good husband, it's not a very good wife. Or you marry in the government. Oh, this government has betrayed and abandoned people on many occasions. The fact that they're cutting off the SNAP benefits on Friday is not the first time the government has abandoned people. It's run by these politicians. Go read about the fall of Saigon in the Vietnam War. Look at what they did to the Vietnamese people, the people in the South. Those poor people, they married the U.S. government. They believed the government was going to be there for them to have their back. And then the government decided, we're bored. We don't want to do this war anymore. We're out. And they abandoned Saigon, and all these people got killed, right? So don't depend on people or institutions that are not going to be there for you when the shit gets hard, right? Like even when you're picking like a spouse, or like one of the things I like about my wife is she's like kind of like a ride or die tough woman. She has some of that stereotypical strong black woman in her for real. And I'm like, that's okay, because life is hard. I like strong people next to me. You're a good teammate, all right? And when I look throughout history, here's the thing. Here's what's interesting. I explained this to a young black man when we were talking. I said, if you look throughout history, the solid black women have been the only people who really had our back since the beginning, right? Not everybody's equally strong. Some people are weak. They punk out and maybe they go marry some British white boy or something. But for the most part, like really solid black women they've been. I mean, well, they gave birth to us. First of all, that's the ultimate sacrifice, right? They gave us the right to exist, because they could have chose to terminate or whatever, right? But then on top of that, like when stuff really gets hard, tell me if you've had this experience. I hope most of you will agree with me on this. You know, um, that's like a source of power that's like really been consistent. Like black women have been really there for us consistently. So when I made my biggest investment in my life, remember, this is about strategic allocation of resources. Where do you plan? And this is really an investing idea. Remember, before you invest, you must investigate and you must do due diligence, right? When I was listening to the CEO of BlackRock today talk, Larry Fink, and the largest asset holder on the planet, and before they put their assets somewhere, they investigate to make sure this is a solid place to invest their resources. Do they not? Do they not? Right? So what was the greater investment in my life than for me to literally invest my life? And that means picking a wife. So when I picked a wife, I didn't even consider for 1 second making that massive investment in somebody other than a black woman. Not because all black women are perfect, but because I just didn't feel comfortable putting that amount of trust in somebody who doesn't understand my struggle, who hasn't proven to have the ability to be solid during difficult times. So invest your trust and your energy in things that are gonna come through for you, things that are proven commodities, right? The corporation is not a proven commodity. When it comes to corporations, I think about the Chris song, these hoes ain't loyal. Corporations don't give a damn about you. You can work 30 years at a company, work yourself into a grave, and die at your desk because you were staying for overtime that night, and they will scoop your dead body up, send your spouse like a Cheesecake Factory gift card or something, and they'll replace you in less than a week. Why? Well, because they just have to. In order for the organization to move forward, they can't be all touchy-feely and sad. Like the world will keep on spinning because you're dealing with a system. Systems don't have feelings and emotions. They just don't. When I took my job at Syracuse University, the reason I got the job and the reason that they really pushed to hire me quickly was because the guy who had my office before me died from, I guess, I don't know if he overworked himself or what, but he had just died. Like when I did the interview, he was still alive. He was one of the people deciding to whether they're going to hire me. So in the hiring process, he dies, and the chairman calls and he says, "Okay, we need to get these classes covered in the fall, so we really need you more than ever." Right? And so literally systems will kind of continue. So when you invest in something, make sure you're investing in something that's going to reciprocate, that's going to be sturdy for you, right? Like poor Harriet Tubman, put her life on the line to be a spy for the government, and the government did not show equal loyalty. So being equally yoked, in my opinion, kind of means, okay, if I'm gonna be there for you, if I'm gonna ride or die for you, you're gonna ride or die for me, right? And that to me is a fundamental core value of equality that I think sometimes we forget. That's why I don't have a lot of faith in political parties because I don't think anybody could ever argue to me that either major political party has really truly been there for black people. Right. Again, you know what I mean? Like, no matter who you vote, I get it. I understand lesser of two evils and got to get trouble. Whatever your feeling is, I look at it as, okay, you want this from me because you need me to show up for you. Um, are you gonna show up for me in the same way, or are you gonna have an excuse? Like, how's that gonna work? And what can happen is it becomes like, okay, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame. Sorry, wait, fool me once, shame on you. There you go, shame on you, right? Fool me twice, shame on me. Because why would I trust you after you betrayed me repeatedly? I'm not going to do that. So I will just say, just publicly, because I feel like this is important because we have a lot of red pill debates about women and men and dating and all that. I was gonna say publicly, like I don't think any entity has ever really consistently shown up for me as well as black women and black men too. Like just the good brothers that are out there, that's where I feel safe. So I say, okay, when I'm making my investment and I'm deciding where to put my time, energy, attention, and then also my money or invest my intellect, right? I have some skill, right? I've trained on this stuff. I want to invest. I want to pour here. This is where I'm pouring my wealth, right? And because I know that there's going to be a benefit. There's also going to be a ripple effect, right? You also think about it like this, process this too. Why is the black community struggling financially? Why is it depleted? Why is the wealth gone? Well, because you pour your resources. Let's talk about financial resources in particular. You're pouring your resources into places and people that aren't giving those resources back, right? I go spend money at Walmart or Target. Walmart or Target's going to take that money and they're going to leave, right? Target and Walmart, the same thing. We're boycotting Target, which is funny. Boycott Walmart too. I mean, because they're kind of doing the same thing. Neither one of them is really giving you a whole lot, right? And um, so you think about this, right? I want you to just one day sit down and inventory what you're getting out of the deal. I think that's the way to look at it. Like, what are you getting out of the deal? Right? When you spend money at the mall, what are you getting out of the deal? And or if you go to work every day, what are you getting out of the deal? And it's not to say you get nothing. You get something back. But the problem is that you're engaged in what economists would call a trade deficit. Dr. Claude Anderson refers to it as the doctrine of unequal exchange, which is that you're giving this much, they're giving you that much. So they're giving you something, but they're not giving you something that's equal in value to what you're giving away. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense, right? And that's not the nature of investing. That's not how investing is supposed to work. Investing means if I give this much, I'm supposed to get back that much. That's what that means, right? So that would be an example might be a loving relationship. Like if I love you this much, then you're so excited, so you love me that much, so I come back and I love you this much, and then we keep outdoing each other, and we create a powerful economy of love. No, I love you more. No, I love you more. I love you more. I love you more. Right? And that's the kind of thing that can happen economically as well. You can have a positive spiral in economic activity because there's sort of this commitment and trust and we're pouring into each other and I pour in your bucket, you pour in mine. And that's why Nvidia is a $5 trillion company because Nvidia is powerful because they have this ecosystem. where they're connecting with all these companies. They're connecting with AMD. They connecting with Nokia. They're connecting with ChatGPT. They're connecting with all Intel, like all these companies, right? And they're pouring into these companies, and what's happening is that they're exchanging economic value, and it's creating this massive cycle where literally trillions of dollars of wealth is being created out of thin air. It seems like, right? So think about this. I'm sure Jensen Wong thinks deeply about his ecosystem. I bet when he makes deals, he doesn't make deals where he's going to give this much and he's going to get back that much. He doesn't make those types of deals. He makes deals where he's going to at least be matched in economic love and everybody's going to win. And it's like a win-win scenario. And I think personally, that's how you can think of your whole life. You deserve to get a return on investment for every single thing you do. And I am not talking about money. Don't think I'm talking about money. But you deserve an ROI in everything you do. You pour into your kids, your ROI is seeing that your kids are happy and successful. That's the return on investment. Kids ain't got no money, right? Maybe if you're lucky, your kids will grow up and become wealthy, though. I mean, it can become financial. My parents invested in me when I was a kid, when I was a crazy teenager, and as a result, they lived the last 30 years of their life never having to want for anything. If I got it, Daddy, you got it. If you want a new truck or a van, okay, I'll buy it. I took my father to buy a new van and we paid cash for it. It was I think $50,000. It was nice, and I just bought it. It's like and he said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I said, "Why are you thanking me? I'm just a return on your investment. That's it. You didn't have to take care of me as a teenager. A lot of men would have thought you were a simp for taking care of somebody else's kid. You made an investment in me, so here I am. I am your return on investment, one of your returns, right? So what I want you to understand is that these principles, that's how wealth is built, right? It's built on these basic ideas. Like in order for me to receive, I must give. But when I give, I must give strategically. Because if I give constantly to places that are not going to reciprocate, then I'm going to be depleted. Right? And this is where self-esteem kicks in. This is where the healing kicks in. If I'm a healthy, healed person, then I'm not going to pour into things that are not going to bring something back, that are not going to reciprocate in some positive way. And you think about this, right? Think about how many times you've seen somebody when they're dating, they don't want to date the person who loves them. They want to date the person who doesn't want anything to do with them. Right? Like you're chasing the girl who's told you no 50 times instead of going after the girl who told you yes, or you want to go after the man who disrespects you because you have no respect for the man who admires and adores you. That's bad investing. Keep investing in the asshole if you want to. That's what the little 22-year-old girls do. And then they end up 30 and they're angry, they're sad, they're depleted because they've been chasing these men and for whatever reason and it doesn't work out, right? And so the universe kind of tells you what's what. But I think also there's like a self-esteem component too, because sometimes if you don't really love yourself, then you don't value yourself. And when you don't value yourself, you give yourself and your resources away and to just anybody who will take it, right? And so really that economic self-esteem is important too. If I value what the wealth I bring to the table as a black person, if my self-esteem is intact and I know my worth, I know that I'm an asset to anybody that I engage with, I know what I'm bringing to the table, then I'm gonna really also assess what you're bringing to the table, and then we bring our stuff to the table and we just have an amazing time, right? So I don't I have no illusions about the fact that I know I have value. I know what a PhD is worth. I know how hard it was. I know how good I am at this stuff. So I know I'm bringing something of value to the table, and I'm investing in you because you reciprocate and you care about the mission and you accept me for despite my flaws, and it creates an economy of economic love. And as long as everybody's given and everybody's supportive and generous and wishing the best for each other, then it becomes a beautiful, wonderful experience. But when you get to the point where either people don't value themselves or they become selfish and you're extracting, you're taking and not giving, that's when it all breaks down. That's when everything breaks down. So when you're building your family economy, and I write about this a lot in my book. My book is The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Um, in that book, I talk extensively about how economies are built and how you build economies of love, how you build economies within your family, how you build ecosystems that allow for a natural rippling effect that allow you to create value the same way Jensen Huang has created $5 trillion in economic value for Nvidia shareholders. I mean, he could be a trillionaire eventually because he's made so many millionaires. Jensen Huang helped my family get richer. I mean, my lord, this guy has probably made a million people into millionaires with Nvidia stock. And if you look at the way he moves and the way he talks, I have a lot of respect for Jensen Huang. I think he'd be a better president than Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is a little rough around the edges, but because he just understands how to be seen and how to be confident, but also how to be really respectful for everybody that's in the room. That to me is perfect for building a great ecosystem. So, you know, I would pay attention. All right. So, quickly, I want to mention. So, if you want to join for Powernomics tonight, I forgot to mention. Text the word greatness to the number 87948. Text greatness to 87948 on your phone, and I'll send you an invitation. Also, this week on Friday, we're doing estate planning. We're gonna have an expert, Dr. Sabrina Williams. It's Thursday night at I think 8:30. Yeah, the 30th. The estate planning club's going to meet. So if you want to prepare your generational wealth plan, get your estate in order, set up your trust and everything else, we have Dr. Williams coming back, and that's going to be Thursday. And so if you want to join that, you can go to drboycelift.com. Dr. Boyce Lift. Lift stands for Legacy Investors for Tomorrow. So if you're planning the legacy, you can join us on Thursday. All right, so let's finish up with Nvidia because I know I talk around stuff, but and I hope it's okay. I hope it helps. I want you to see the big picture. Basically, Nvidia, their stock shot up today or yesterday and today because number one, they announced that they've secured $500 billion in AI chip orders for the upcoming quarters, which is a big deal. They're making more money than expected, which is crazy. The AI demand in America is just ridiculous right now. It's just everybody's like, oh, we can't fulfill all the demand. When there's demand, there's money, so which is pretty awesome. Also, the company revealed that they have a lot of major manufacturing and infrastructure initiatives in the U.S. Like they're building AI supercomputers with the U.S. Department of Energy. They're doing domestic chip production in Arizona, etc., which I'm sure makes Trump happy. Geopolitical tailwinds. Their technologies are now central to U.S. tech policy and global AI strategy. So that's a big deal. So they're becoming kind of right in bed with the government in a very deep way. A lot of Silicon Valley people used to be anti-government. Like Google used to have a slogan that said "Don't be evil," and it was kind of strange because they removed the slogan, which was interesting, right? And that's when they started doing like military contracts and stuff. So yeah, they're going to be using AI to find ways to kill people, which, eh, you know, tomato, tomato, yin and yang. I don't know what to think about that. All right. Also, the company reached the $5 trillion market cap, and that brings investor interest. When a company makes a lot of headlines, a lot of people want to pour money into it. I kind of suspect that it could be an overreaction. So I bought puts. I didn't buy any more shares of Nvidia. I bought puts in Nvidia, but I did make an investment today in something. I can't remember. No, that's what it was. Actually, I did buy more Nvidia, but I also bought puts. So I did both. I took the upside and the downside. Um, Also, they made a big investment in Nokia, which maybe they can resurrect that company. They're going to develop next gen connectivity infrastructure, 5G and 6G, aligned with its AI hardware business, expanding its ecosystem and future margin upside. So ultimately, Nvidia is a company that just seems to have so much momentum right now. I That still worries me a little bit because I'm like, well, what if something goes wrong? You should always ask about that. But the cool thing about it is that they've made so much money and created so much value that if you've been an investor in this company, even just this year, if you started 2, 3 years ago, you've made a ridiculous amount of money. But if you even invest this year or have invested, you've made a lot of money. I think the stock's up 50% this year. And the crazy thing is that people think it could still keep going up. I'm kind of worried about that though, because what happens is that when companies are doing that well, then their expectations are that high, any little change can really crater the stock price. Let's see, but the price right now is at 210. There are a few analysts that estimate 210 to 250 as a price target. Evercore has a price target of Nvidia to 260 of 261. Bank of America raised their price target from 235 to 275. So whenever analysts start increasing their price target, that'll push the stock up because what that does is that's increasing the expectations. The two things that move a stock price are expectations and realizations, right? Like what do we expect you to do, and then also the proof is in the potato salad. Right? The rubber meets the road when we see what you did compared to what we thought you were going to do. So if you meet expectations and go beyond, then your price will continue to go up, which Nvidia has always exceeded expectations. But you can't exceed expectations forever. At some point, they will disappoint. Um, so a lot of analysts just really like the stock right now. I'm not here to tell you to buy it, but I am here to say if you did, I wouldn't fault you for it. And actually, I'm really curious about it because I think the stock might have actually already started dipping a little bit, but I don't see that as a bad dip. I see it more so as a cooling off more than anything. But as I'm looking it up right now, let me see here. Oh, okay. Sorry, it is up. I apologize. Yeah, this it's up 15% this week, and it's up to 209 right now. So, that's my thought on Nvidia. I think the AI ecosystem is, if you haven't invested in that at all, I don't know what to say. I'm hoping you'll consider that this is going to control the future, and remember that when it comes to AI, there's the knowing of AI, and then there's the owning of AI, right? And we've talked about this, right? The word is known. I've known AI. So I think knowing it and owning it is an optimal strategy. And so if you want to join our AI group, it's AI Empire Society, AIEmpireSociety.com. So feel free to go to AIEmpireSociety.com. Micah does trainings on AI all the time, and there's a great collective of people that work together on this. And so when you're talking about participating in this space, um, it's going to rock the whole economy. It's going to change. We already know it's going to take away a lot of jobs, but it's also going to create new jobs long term. Also, I think if you have kids that are going to go to college or grandkids that are in college or going to go to college, you got to really warn them. I think the people that are going to get body slammed are the people that are living in the year 2028 and doing things as if it was still 2021. Those people are going to lose their job and not even know why. They're going to say, "Wait, I did a good job. I showed up to work on time." Well, what happened is you're competing with a robot, and you're not going to win. And robots, and the thing about AI is the really big revolution is going to be robotics, physical AI. When they actually have the robots, they have AI inside their physical bodies. There's already one robot that's for sale right now for about $20,000, but eventually there's going to be kind of everywhere. So I bet you that in 5 years you're going to see robots all over the place. So this is the direction the world's going, and it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit scary because there's a lot of belief that AI, like they can't really control it, like they don't know exactly what the AI is doing, and because the AI is simulating human beings and learning from human beings, they're worried that it's going to become like human beings and have its own motivations, and it might have the capacity to be evil or at least self-preservation oriented. Right, and the AI is showing the capacity to do that, where they'll change their own code in order to keep from being shut down. And that's kind of strange. I've never seen that before. Um, so I don't know. If you have faith in human beings to believe that we're going to figure it out, then this is good. If you don't have faith, then join the club because I don't know how I feel about humans. I'll also say this too, just in terms of short-term catalysts. I personally believe that the politicians, as dumb as they are, I don't think they're going to be stupid enough to leave the government shut down for very long. So my guess would be that once the government reopens, that's going to lead to a little bit of a bump in your stock prices. So if you're an investor, maybe you can get positioned for that bump and that increase because you have a lot of positive tailwinds for the stock market. Most people are saying that it's going to go up. Okay, so that's my assessment. That's what I was thinking about this morning, and that's where I'm putting my own money. So if it doesn't work and you lose money, just know you're not alone. I'll be losing money with you. So all right, so I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll continue the conversation next time. Couple reminders. One, I mentioned the trip to South Africa. I'm going to mention a lot just so everybody knows. We're going to South Africa in May of next year, so you may want to get started. There's a payment plan, so you can go ahead and pay a little bit every month and join us there. And I'm going to arrange for us to go to like the stock market there. I'm going to see if we can do that. So if you want to join us, you can text the word travel to the number 87948 And you can also visit b1voyages.com, b1voyages.com. Second of all, the estate planning group is going to meet Thursday. So it's drboycelift.com. Legacy Investors for Tomorrow, drboycelift.com. And then tonight, we're doing Powernomics trading. So you can text the word greatness to the phone number 87948, and I'll send you a link. All right. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.